When I was in school, I was taught the brain is the master organ in the body, and of course the brain's important. But now we know the brain receives the bulk of the instructions that tell the brain what to do come from the heart. And the heart creates those instructions based on our perception, how we feel about the world around us. When we have a sense of well-being and we feel safe, we send one set of signals. When we feel threatened or we're constantly being vigilant of the world, that's a very, very different chemistry that we're sending, and we do it instinctively. There are techniques that allow us to very consciously harmonize the heart and the brain when we choose to do that. And when we do that, it opens the door to tremendous potentials, including super learning, super memory, longevity enzymes are awakened. So we know about these specialized cells, neurons in the heart. They think independently of the human brain. They feel independently. They remember independently. When we have experiences in life, we register those in these neurons in our body. If they're good experiences, it's not a problem. Rarely do we find someone who is stuck in joy. You don't hear people say, God, I've got so much joy in my life, can you help me out? So the joy isn't the problem, even though the joy is registered in those neurons as well. Candace Pert was the first medical doctor who linked human trauma and human emotion to these physical chemicals. They're called neuropeptides. So the word tells you the whole thing right there. Neuro is associated with the nervous system, and peptides, it's a chemical bond. When we have experiences in our lives, often at young ages, even in the womb before we're born, and we don't know how to resolve the trauma, so it's the unresolved trauma that becomes the problem. What happens is that our perceptions, our body, will create a chemistry that matches that trauma. And ideally, the chemistry wants to metabolize. It wants to move through the body, through the blood, and be metabolized through urine or perspiration, just the way other chemicals are. But if we have not resolved the trauma, then our body will store the neuropeptides in an organ and keep it for us until we have learned to resolve or to free that chemical to allow it to move forward. If you don't know that those neuropeptides are in the organs and decades pass, then they will let you know sometimes by creating what we call illness or disease. They'll show up as a condition of inflammation initially, and the inflammation, if it's not addressed, can lead to something else. It's not the hurt is bad, that's not the problem, it's unresolved hurt. So the question is, when we have these deeply traumatic experiences, and we all have them in our lives, loss of loved ones, betrayal, when someone lies to us, or infidelity, these are the most intimate relationships is where we have the deepest hurts. And we have those, where does that emotion go? If you're trying to recall those things with the mind, in the polarity, the mind and the ego and the subconscious patterning want a polarity response. They want a right or a wrong or a good or a bad. And when you look at the wrongness or the badness, that's where the hurt comes from. When we begin to access the memories from the heart that do not have that polarity, it's almost surreal. It's like you can be honest with yourself and objective about what happened without immersing yourself in the pain. And that is where these neuropeptides, they will begin to free. And of course, that has external, sometimes when they're free, you get a rash sometimes because they're moving quickly, obviously tears, a lot of emotion, shift in breathing. And what that means is that the hurt now has been redefined. You don't change what happened, but you change your ability to respond to what happened. I believe that we have everything that we need to transcend any experience that can come to us in this world with our own medicine cabinet and our own chemistry that we have. And when an individual is able to access this part of themselves and awaken this, and then heal what they've thought was their deepest hurt from something that's already within them, the level of confidence, the level of mastery, the level of self-esteem, knowing that you can do that, it changes the way you look at the world. And it allows us to live and love much more freely without feeling a dependence on anything, that we need something to get us through this. And it changes the way we think about ourselves in life.